My name is Robert Christie, and I'm here at the Gallery Art Placement in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, with Jonathan Forrest in conjunction with his exhibition of paintings entitled Character Study, presented at the gallery until November the 10th, 2011. Let's address the issue of your paint. Of your paint. It's an obvious concern and an issue in your work. It's thick, and in some cases 1/4 of an inch or more. It's in relief, and it's an immediate component in the work. Perhaps you can give us some background as to how you got to this and why you're using it in this manner.
I could kind of trace my sort of interest in a kind of physical thick paint back to my student days, 30 years ago. And for some reason, I guess probably because I started painting in the kind of late 70s, early 80s, it was a time when in abstraction, and in fact I think in painting generally, there was a kind of big interest and emphasis on the kind of physicality of paint. So right in like sort of 1982, 83, when I was finishing up at university, it's like they came out with the first thick acrylic gels. So it's sort of like it hit the scene, thick paint, right when I was sort of just becoming a painter. So it's sort of, I think some sort of, it's like childhood imprinting happened, where in my youth, I kind of was, in the air at that time was thick paint, and somehow I latched onto it, and it kind of made sense to me. So pretty much from then till now, I've kind of had this kind of thing about paint. And mucking around with paint, hands in the paint, how the paint spreads. It's just sort of this kid-like joy of the kind of physical stuff that I like. You know, talking about the paint and the process of the paintings is I always worry that it's like by talking so much about that's all it is. Because it's somehow more than the sum of its parts. And what that element that makes it more than the sum of its parts is the whole key. But I don't know how to really articulate that.
Well, that's what I was alluding to.
And like on the one hand, I'm a kind of mad scientist in the studio, loving the paint, the things you can do with the paint, mix it, muck around with it, and I really, I'm sort of in my element doing that kind of thing. At the same time, I worry about talking too much about it, is I would give the impression that that's the stopping point, whereas really, that's the starting point.
You know, our mutual friend of ours, John McLean, once mentioning to me that he always thought good pictures should have a sense of humor. Now again, I couldn't elaborate fully on that, but I'll make an effort and suggest that it's not like they make you laugh, but that they delight the viewer, that there's something visually about them that is, just simply put, visually delightful. So you mucking about in the studio, playing, as you put it earlier, without identifying, without having a plan of accomplishing a specific set tune, whatever, can achieve that. And I think your delight in painting
is captured in the painting.
One of the things I noticed was that, and if I can make the distinction, your intersecting of the colors in this central area, the way you're what happens, of course, is that you get overlay or overlap, and hence a suggestion of shapes being on top of or above, behind, whatever, other shapes. You do it in a different way over there, in that you haven't taken it directly.
No, but you know, I'm pretty sure that this is what actually got me going on doing that,
Yes.
is making this drawing. And I made it as a drawing, not as a preliminary sketch. It was just a drawing.
In and of itself.
In itself, but I've got it pinned on my studio wall.
Right.
And then I'm pretty sure that's, looking at that, basically thinking, geez, I wonder how I could paint that overlapping on a technical way. How could I do that? And through basically the black painting that's in the other room is kind of the first one where I've tried to do that. And by overlapping the paint, like the blue over the yellow, and then how it sort of ends in the middle, kind of got me going on another sort of, I don't know, series within the series kind of thing, and how they meet in the middle is almost as important as how they go at the edges.